The Diamond Deception, the grand ballroom of the Reed estate, glittered like a diamond-encrusted fantasy. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic rainbows across the cream and gold decor, while white roses and orchids cascaded from every archway. 200 guests murmured in anticipation, smartphones ready to capture the society wedding of the year. In a private suite, Harrison Reed adjusted his custom Tom Ford Bodie with trembling fingers. At 32, tech billionaire had conquered Silicon Valley with his revolutionary data security platform, Secure Sync. But matrimony terrified him more than any boardroom battle. "You look perfect," said his best man, Thomas Wilson, handing him a glass of 18-year-old Macallan. "Penelope won't know what hit her." Harrison smiled tightly. Penelope Carter had stormed into his life at a charity gala 11 months ago, challenging his donation amount and suggesting better allocation strategies. Her intelligence and fearlessness had captivated him instantly. Their whirlwind romance culminated in today's extravagant wedding, covered exclusively by Vanity Fair. Mr. Reed, a staff member, appeared at the door. "There's an urgent delivery for you?" Harrison accepted the unmarked envelope with annoyance. Today of all days? Inside was a USB drive and a note. "Before you say I do, the truth about your bride?" Thomas frowned. It's probably just someone trying to cause trouble. Curiosity compelled Harrison to plug the drive into his laptop. What he saw shattered his world. Screenshots of text conversations between Penelope and an unknown contact, discussing Harrison's wealth, company vulnerabilities, and plans to secure half his assets after marriage. "This could be fabricated," Thomas suggested, seeing Harrison's ashen face. "The timestamps match when she claimed to be visiting her father," Harrison said hollowly. "And these details about Secure Sync's security protocols? Only someone close to me would know these things." In the bridal suite, Penelope Carter smoothed her hand over the hand-embroidered bodice of her Vera Wang gown. The daughter of a small-town librarian and a fishing boat captain, she still couldn't believe she was marrying Harrison Reed. Not because of his wealth, though the media insisted. That must be her motivation, but because beneath his brilliant, ambitious exterior, she'd discovered a genuinely caring man desperate for authentic connection. Her maid of honor, Josephine Parker, adjusted Penelope's cathedral-length veil. "Ready to become Mrs. Reed?" Penelope's smile radiated happiness. "Ready to start our life together." The wedding coordinator knocked excitedly. "It's time." As Penelope processed down the aisle to Pachelbel's canon, the altar stood empty. Confused murmurs rippled through the guests. After 15 excruciating minutes, Thomas appeared instead of Harrison, his face grave. "Harrison has decided he cannot proceed with the ceremony," he announced awkwardly. "He extends his apologies to everyone for the inconvenience." The gasps and whispers crashed over Penelope like a tsunami. Her vision tunneled as Josephine rushed to support her. "There must be some mistake," Penelope whispered desperately. "Where is he? I need to speak with him." But Harrison had already left the estate, instructing his staff to handle the aftermath. By evening, tabloid headlines screamed "Tech Billionaire abandons gold-digger bride," featuring unflattering photos of a devastated Penelope. Within days, Penelope retreated to her coastal hometown of Port Harlow, her reputation in tatters. Harrison, meanwhile, retreated behind the walls of his empire, hardening his heart against future betrayal and burying himself in 18-hour workdays. Neither realized that the USB drive that destroyed their future had been carefully crafted by someone who stood to gain from their separation, someone who would go to any length to keep them apart permanently. Seaside. Sanctuary. 5 years passed like a blur for Harrison Reed. Secure Sync had expanded globally, making him one of the 20 wealthiest people in the world. His office on the 50th floor of Reed Tower offered panoramic views of San Francisco, but Harrison barely noticed anymore. At 37, his face had grown leaner, lines etching around his eyes and mouth from constant tension. "Your test results are concerning," Dr. Westfield said, studying Harrison's medical chart. "Elevated blood pressure, insomnia, stress hormones, through the roof. You're heading for a cardiac event if you don't make immediate changes." Harrison waved dismissively. "Prescribe whatever medications you think necessary." "What you need isn't in a pill bottle," Dr. Westfield countered firmly. I'm ordering a 3-month sabbatical, completely offline, somewhere peaceful, preferably. Near water, the ocean has proven therapeutic benefits. After considerable protest, Harrison reluctantly agreed. His executive assistant, Diana Fletcher, arranged a rental cottage in a small coastal town called Port Harlow, selected purely for its obscurity and lack of tourist traffic. The salt-weathered blue cottage sat on a bluff overlooking the Pacific. Harrison arrived on a misty April morning, immediately regretting his decision as he surveyed the modest accommodations in sleepy town below. Without work, what would fill his days? During his first reluctant exploration of Port Harlow, Harrison discovered Tidal Pages, a charming bookstore housed in a converted lighthouse. The scent of old books and fresh coffee drew him inside, where floor-to-ceiling shelves created a literary labyrinth. First editions are upstairs, bestsellers to your right, and local authors in the alcove, called a warm voice. I'm around. If you need recommendations, Harrison followed the voice to find a woman arranging a display of maritime history books. Olivia Bennett had chestnut hair gathered in a messy bun, intelligent hazel eyes behind tortoiseshell glasses, and an air of contented purpose that immediately intrigued him. I'm actually not sure what I'm looking for, Harrison admitted. Olivia studied him thoughtfully. New in town, slightly irritated to be here, probably workaholic, forced to take time off. I'd recommend something completely absorbing. She selected a thick novel, tried this historical fiction about building the Transcontinental Railroad. Enough technical details to satisfy an analytical mind, but with genuine human stories. Harrison was startled by her accuracy. Are you always this perceptive with customers? Books are windows into people's souls, Olivia replied with a slight smile. Plus, you're still wearing your city clothes in a beach town. Dead giveaway. Against his will, Harrison found himself smiling back. Over the following weeks, Harrison became a regular at Tidal Pages. Olivia's recommendations never missed the mark, and their literary discussions became the highlight of his days. She challenged his cynical worldview without judgment, introducing him to local fishermen, artists, and cafe owners who gradually welcomed him into their community. Harrison never mentioned his wealth or company, and Olivia never asked about his past. Instead, she shared her passion for preserving local maritime history and running reading programs for disadvantaged children. Her authenticity and genuine concern for others slowly softened the walls around Harrison's heart. One stormy evening, as they closed the bookshop together, Olivia invited Harrison to dinner at her cottage, a converted boathouse with mismatched furniture and walls lined with books. I've never actually cooked for anyone here, she admitted, stirring seafood chowder. Most locals know I'm a terrible cook, but you're still new enough to risk it. Harrison found himself laughing, truly laughing for the first time in years. I'm honored to be your guinea pig. As rain pattered against the windows, they shared stories over surprisingly delicious chowder and local wine. Harrison felt something unfamiliar blossoming in his chest. Peace, belonging, and the dangerous stirring of new affection. Meanwhile, across town, Penelope Carter stepped off the ferry, returning to Port Harlow for her father's retirement celebration. After months at a marine research station, the small-town gossip mill would soon bring worlds crashing together as fate positioned its players for an unexpected reunion. Shadows of the past, Penelope Carter had rebuilt her life methodically after the wedding disaster, channeling her heartbreak into determination. She'd completed her doctorate in marine biology and now led conservation projects along the Pacific coast. Her work studying whale migration patterns had recently been featured in National Geographic, a professional triumph that helped overshadow her personal notoriety. She'd returned to Port Harlow for her father's retirement after 40 years. As harbor master, though she visited occasionally, this 3-week stay would be her longest since fleeing here broken-hearted 5 years ago. The prodigal daughter returns. Her father, George Carter, exclaimed, embracing her at the ferry dock, his weathered face creased with pride. Town's buzzing about your National Geographic feature. Let's hope that's all they're buzzing about, Penelope replied wryly. The weekend celebration for George brought the entire town to the harbor pavilion. Penelope circulated among familiar faces, relaxing among people who knew her before she became tabloid fodder. You've got to meet our newest resident, her childhood friend, Josephine insisted, pulling her toward a tall man with his back turned. He's been hiding out in Sheldon's old cottage for weeks. Very mysterious but surprisingly nice once. Josephine's words died as the man turned around. Time froze as Penelope found herself staring into the shocked face of Harrison Reed. The clamor of the party faded to silence. Harrison's face drained of color. Penelope, you two know each other? Josephine asked, looking between them. Briefly, Penelope managed, her voice admirably steady, despite her thundering heart. If you'll excuse me. She fled to the harbor's edge, gripping the railing until her knuckles whitened. Moments later, footsteps approached. Of all the small towns in America, Harrison said quietly, I had to choose yours. Penelope turned, her composure restored. It's fine. It was 5 years ago. Ancient history. Harrison studied her, noting the confidence she now wore like armor. You look... successful. I am, she replied simply. And you? Still destroying people's lives with a single decision? Before Harrison could respond, Olivia approached with 2 glasses of punch. George is about to give his speech, she stopped. Sensing the tension, sorry, am I interrupting? Olivia Penelope said, with genuine warmth, embracing her friend. I see you've met Harrison. Olivia glanced between them, confusion evident. You know each other? We were engaged, Harrison stated flatly. Briefly, Olivia's eyes widened in recognition. You're that Harrison. Oh, She turned to Penelope, pieces falling into place. The jilted bride, Penelope finished with forced lightness. Oh, I prefer marine biologists these days. The uncomfortable triangle was interrupted by George's retirement speech. Afterward, Harrison disappeared, while Olivia cornered Penelope. Didn't you tell me you were engaged to Harrison Reed of SecureSync? She demanded. Because I never say his name if I can help it, Penelope answered. How do you know him? He's been coming to the bookstore for weeks. I had no idea... That you were befriending the man who humiliated. Your friend on national television? Penelope suggested. Olivia hesitated. He's different than I would have expected. Quieter. Thoughtful. People change, Penelope said distantly, or perhaps show different faces to different people. That night, Harrison paced his cottage, memories flooding back. The anonymous USB drive that destroyed his trust. The devastating evidence, yet seeing. Penelope, today successful, composed, respected by an entire community, contradicted everything he'd believed about her. Meanwhile, across town, Harrison's former business partner, Vincent Thornton, received an urgent alert on his phone. Harrison. Reed's location had been active in Port Harlow for weeks, the same town where Penelope Carter had retreated years ago. The coincidence was too dangerous to ignore. Vincent made a call. We may have a problem, he said tersely. The past is catching up to us. Unraveling deceptions. The morning after George's retirement party, Harrison found Olivia waiting outside his cottage, her expression troubled. You should have told me who you were, she said without preamble, and who Penelope was to you. Harrison gestured toward the porch swing. Came here to escape my identity, not advertise it. Did you know she lived here? No, Harrison answered truthfully. I had no idea until yesterday. Olivia studied him intently. She's my friend, Harrison, one of my best friends, even though she's away for months at a time. Whatever happened between you two devastated her. Harrison's jaw tightened. Can you know the whole story? Then tell me, Olivia challenged. 'Cause the Penelope I know isn't the gold digger the tabloids portrayed. Reluctantly, Harrison described the damning evidence he'd received minutes before the wedding. As he spoke, doubt crept into his voice. 5 years of cynicism had calcified his hurt, but seeing Penelope in her hometown, surrounded by people who genuinely respected her, had created the first cracks in his certainty. Have you ever considered you might have been manipulated? Olivia asked quietly. The question haunted Harrison as he walked along the cliffs that afternoon. His phone, which he'd largely ignored during his sabbatical, vibrated with an urgent message from Diana, his assistant. Security breach detected in old server archives. Someone accessing files from 5 years ago. Call immediately. The call revealed disturbing information. Someone had systematically accessed old communications between Harrison and Vincent Thornton from the days surrounding the canceled wedding. The activity originated from Thornton Investments Private Network, Diana explained. Vincent, that doesn't make sense, Harrison muttered. He was the one who warned me when the security team flagged unusual access patterns from Penelope's devices. A cold realization washed over Harrison. He'd trusted Vincent implicitly. They'd built SecureSync together before Vincent left to start his investment firm. What if the evidence against Penelope had been fabricated? Meanwhile, Penelope conducted a tide pool exhibition for local children, trying to focus on work rather than Harrison's unexpected appearance in her life. As the kids examined sea stars and anemones, she noticed Olivia watching from the beach path. The kids love your presentations, Olivia said, falling into step beside Penelope afterward. Children are the best audience, Penelope replied. Curious, no preconceptions. After a pause, Olivia asked, "Did you ever get an explanation about why Harrison left?" Penelope's steps faltered. He thought I was after his money, or his company's secrets, or both. The tabloids were quite creative with their theories. And were you? After his money? Penelope stopped walking. I loved him, Olivia. Didn't care about SecureSync or his billions. I cared about the man who brought me coffee at 2 a.m. when I was studying, who debated environmental policy with me for hours, who seemed to see me when everyone else saw dollar signs. Her raw honesty hung in the salt-tinged air. That evening, Harrison received an encrypted file from Diana containing recovered security logs from 5 years earlier. They revealed a sophisticated digital trail that had been designed to implicate Penelope, a trail that led directly to Vincent Thornton. Harrison's world tilted on its axis. Vincent, his oldest friend, had systematically destroyed his chance at happiness with Penelope. But why? The answer came in financial records Diana uncovered in the months following the wedding debacle. Vincent had quietly acquired significant shares of SecureSync, while Harrison was emotionally devastated and neglecting business oversight. The shares were now worth billions. As Harrison grappled with this betrayal, a knock came at his door. Penelope stood on his porch, rain-damp and resolute. "We need to talk," she said simply. "After 5 years, I deserve the truth." Tides of fortune the cottage filled with the sound of rain as Harrison and Penelope faced each other across the living room. 5 years of misunderstanding stretched between them like a vast ocean. "I received proof you were using me, Harrison," began, his voice hollow. "Text messages, access logs to secure servers, conversations about leveraging our marriage for financial gain." Penelope's expression shifted from anger to disbelief. "And you believe that? Without even asking me?" "The evidence was convincing," Harrison replied, then added more softly, "But I was wrong. My assistant has uncovered proof that Vincent fabricated everything," explained Vincent's elaborate scheme, the falsified digital footprints, the strategic acquisition of company shares during Harrison's emotional tailspin, the calculated destruction of their relationship. Penelope absorbed this information in stunned silence before laughing bitterly. 5 years of my life derailed because your friend wanted your company." "I'm sorry," Harrison said, the words painfully inadequate. "I should have trusted you. I should have asked. I was a coward." "Yes, you were," Penelope agreed, wiping away unexpected tears. "But I'm not sure it would have worked anyway. We rushed into marriage without truly knowing each other." As they talked through the night, the anger and hurt gradually gave way to something unexpected: closure. Their conversation was interrupted at dawn by another knock. Olivia stood in the doorway, concern etched on her face. "Harrison, someone broke into the bookstore last night, accessed your laptop." Security camera footage revealed a professional thief hired by Vincent, who had realized Harrison was uncovering his deception. The thief had copied Harrison's files, but found nothing incriminating enough to protect Vincent. "I need to return to San Francisco," Harrison said grimly. "Vincent has to be held accountable." Before he could leave, Penelope received an urgent call from her research partner, Ethan Blackwood. A pod of endangered whales they'd been tracking had beached near Port Harlow, the same pod featured in their National Geographic article. The entire town mobilized for the rescue. Harrison postponed his departure to help, working alongside Penelope and Ethan as they coordinated volunteers. For hours they kept the whales wet and calm until the tide returned, as the last whale swam free. Harrison observed the easy partnership between Penelope and Ethan, their synchronized movements. Shared scientific passion and obvious deep respect. He recognized with sudden clarity that his unresolved feelings for Penelope were rooted in guilt and what-ifs. It's not present love. That evening, while Penelope and Ethan discussed future research plans, Harrison sought out Olivia at Title Pages. "I'm returning to San Francisco tomorrow," he told her. "Vincent needs to face consequences, and my company needs leadership." Olivia nodded, her expression guarded. "Will you come back?" The question hung between them, weighted with possibility. "I'd like to," Harrison said carefully. "Let's place these people who... You've shown me what I've been missing, but I understand if recent revelations have changed things between us." Olivia shelved a book deliberately, before responding. "When I first met you, I saw someone hiding from life. Now I see someone ready to face it." She met his gaze directly. "Care about who you are now, not who you were then." 2 months later, Vincent Thornton faced securities fraud charges while Harrison implemented sweeping changes at SecureSync. He established a foundation for ocean conservation with Penelope as scientific advisor and made regular trips to Port Harlow, where Olivia had expanded Title Pages to include a maritime history museum. On a sunny September afternoon, Penelope stood with Ethan on the same bluff where her wedding photos were supposed to have been taken years earlier. Now they celebrated the successful tracking of their whale pod along its entire migration route, a scientific achievement that would help protect the species. "Sometimes I wonder how differently my life would have turned out if Harrison hadn't left," Penelope mused. Ethan took her hand. "I'm selfishly glad he did." Across town, Harrison and Olivia walked along the harbor, discussing his permanent relocation to Port Harlow. "SecureSync can be managed remotely," he explained. "The Foundation's headquarters will create jobs here." "Are you sure this small town will be enough after San Francisco?" Olivia asked. Harrison looked at the bookstore owner who had shown him how to slow down and appreciate life's quieter pleasures. "It's not about the place," he said, pulling her close. "It's about finding where you truly belong." As the sun set over Port Harlow, the couples forged paths forward, not the ones they had originally planned, but perhaps the ones they were always meant to find. Sometimes fate's cruelest moments are merely detours, leading to where we're supposed to be all along.